It's time to talk business now. The Central Bank of Nigeria is to roll out redesigned 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes by December 15th this year. The Apex Bank says the old currencies for the denominations will cease to be used as legal tenders from January 31st in 2023. Our correspondent, Lara Folayo, tells us more.
3.2 trillion naira is currently in circulation in Nigeria, but 2.7 trillion, representing 85% of the total amount, is outside the banking system's vaults.
Announcing the arrival of the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria.
This is one major reason why the Central Bank of Nigeria is now announcing its planned introduction of redesigned 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes by December 15th this year. The old currencies for the affected denominations will cease to exist as legal tender from the 31st of January next year.
The management of the CBN has sought and obtained the approval of President Muhammadu Buhari to redesign, produce, release, and circulate new series of banknotes at 200 Naira, 500 Naira, and 1,000 Naira levels. In line with this approval, we have finalized arrangements for the new currency to begin circulation from December 15th, 2022, after its launch by President Muhammadu Buhari.
The Apex Bank expects the developments to help mop up currency in circulation, thereby giving it better control. It as well hopes this will address the spate of kidnapping, whereby cash is mostly paid as ransom, and control rising currency counterfeiting issues.
The redesign of the currency will help deepen our drive to entrench cashless economy, as it will be complemented by increased minting of our E-Naira. Also, in view of the prevailing level of security situation in the country, the CBN is convinced that the incidence of terrorism and kidnapping will be minimized, as access to large volume of money outside the banking system used as source of funds for ransom payments will begin to dry up.
The Apex Bank expects the move to address rising inflation as well. It wants the public to immediately begin depositing cash in banks and directs the banks to immediately stop all charges on deposits to drive the process. Lara Folayo, TVC News, Abuja.
And let's stay with the Central Bank of Nigeria for a moment, as the Apex Bank is celebrating E-Naira's one-year anniversary in grand style, as over 700,000 transactions valued at 8 billion Naira were processed within the last 12 months. Mr. Godwin Emefiele, the Apex Bank governor who spoke at an event organized to mark the digital currency milestone here in Lagos, expressed his profound joy at the success of the Central Bank digital currency since its inception. Mr. Emefiele says it has been an overwhelming first year. The encouragement and genuine interest from Nigerians and others across the world has been unending and has helped propel the vision of the nation's cashless economy, despite the challenges faced in the process.
All our 33 banks are fully integrated and live on the platform. 2. 3 billion Naira worth has been successfully minted by the CBN. 3. 2.1 billion Naira has been issued to financial institutions. 4. About 1 million customers have so far been onboarded. 5. Over 3,305 merchants have successfully registered on the E-Naira platform across the country, including ShopRite, Sahat stores, Irano, fueling stations, freezer suits, November cubes, among others. 6. Over 700,000 transactions amounting to about 8 billion Naira have been recorded on the platform. And 7, over 2.5 million daily visits to the E-Naira website.
Let me reiterate that the E-Naira serves as an alternative means of payment hosted on a safe, credible, cost-effective, and efficient platform. Through offline payment channels like agent networks, USSD, wearables, cards, and near-field communication technology, the E-Naira provides access to financial services to underserved and unbanked segments of the population, which is in line with the bank's commitment towards driving financial inclusion.
Away from the central bank, we're just learning just a moment ago that at the end of 2022, the federal government could see its revenue shortfall hit the lowest level in 12 years. The latest data from the 2022 budget implementation shows the government missed its revenue targets by 36% in 8 months. That's between January and August, but still achieved 83% of its spending plan. Economists are now forecasting that the country could record an unprecedented revenue underperformance this year. Government's actual independence revenue was down by around 50% to 866 billion naira compared to a target of 1.7 trillion naira in the period under review. There are more economic troubles for countries around the world. That's a warning from the World Bank. The Washington, D.C.-based institution says that the shrinking value of currencies of most developing economies is driving up food and fuel prices in ways that could deepen the food and energy crisis that many of them already face. According to the World Bank's latest commodity markets outlook report on currency depreciations, almost 60% of oil imports in emerging market and developing economies saw an increase in domestic currency oil prices recently, while nearly 90% of the economies also saw a larger increase in wheat prices in local currency terms as compared to the rise in U.S. dollars. It stressed that elevated prices of energy commodities that serve as inputs to agricultural production have been driving up food prices in such economies. Let's turn to global markets now. Asian equities again for a third straight day today on growing hopes that major central banks could start slowing the pace of interest rate hikes, with the European Central Bank's meeting later in the day in focus for further clues. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan rallied at 1.24%, and a rebound in Hong Kong again led gains. Now, Euro Stoxx 50 futures were down at 0.28%, while German DAX futures fell at 0.20%, and FTSE futures were down as well at 0.23 lower. Now, US futures rose at 0.7%. In Asia, Japan's Nikkei was down at 0.3%. China's stock market edged lower as bleak industrial profit figure and widening COVID-19 breakouts outweighed on sentiment, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index added 2%, but had come down from the day's highs as bargain hunters' enthusiasm ebbs. Well, the European Central Bank will raise interest rates again today and likely reel in a key subsidy to commercial banks, taking another step in tightening policy to fight off a historic surge in inflation. Now, fearing that rapid price growth is becoming entrenched, the ECB has already raised the rates at the fastest pace on record, and there is a little let-up in sight as unwinding in a decade worth of stimulus could take it as well into next year and beyond. But in a potentially more important decision, the bank is also likely to take the first steps in reducing its 8.8 trillion euro balance sheet, bloated by years of debt purchases and ultra-cheap loans extended to banks. The rate decision is likely to be the easy part of today's meeting. Shares of social media platform Twitter will be suspended from trading on Friday as billionaire Elon Musk faces a court-ordered October 28 deadline to close his $44 billion deal for the social media platform. Mr. Musk, the world's richest person, visited Twitter's headquarters in San Francisco yesterday and hinted he was the company's top boss after updating his profile bio to, quote, chief tweet. Reports say equity investors and others had received the requisite paperwork for the financing commitments from Mr. Musk's lawyers. The deal's completion would mark an end to a lawsuit by Twitter, which, along with investors, now expects the deal to be completed on its original terms of $54.20 per share. The company's stock closed at $53.35 on the New York Stock Exchange only yesterday, Wednesday. Let's wrap things off now with oil prices on the international market as it steadied today following a rally of nearly 3% in the previous session as concerns over slack demand in China, a balanced optimism from record U.S. crude exports and signs that recession concerns are abating. US West Texas Intermediate crude sells for $87.95 per barrel with an uptick of 0.05%. And Brent crude futures experienced an uptick of 0.19% to sell at $95.87 per barrel. Now, Body Light also experiences an upward price review of 1.94%, selling at $94.95 per barrel. And for the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers for $92.09 per barrel, with a price decline of 0.42%.